I'm Jack Whitaker, and this is the NFL Game of the Week. Again, we are bringing you two games because of the incredible situation that exists in the NFL this season. In this, the final week, 5 of the 8 playoff spots have yet to be decided. The tightest race of all is in the NFC's Eastern Division, where the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys are tied for the lead. So, on today's show, you'll see both these vital games. The most important game this week is the Rams-Giants contest in Yankee Stadium. Here, 2 division crowns can be won or lost, and what happens here will be of intimate concern to football establishments in Dallas, Detroit, St. Louis, and San Francisco. If the Giants win, they will be champions of the Eastern Division, no matter what anyone else does, and the Rams will be eliminated from contention for the Western title. If the Rams win, they can finish first in the West, only if San Francisco loses today. The Giants hope to complete a transformation that has been building for several weeks, and a victory is the only thing that will complete it. In this city of heroes, they will take their place next to baseball's Mets and basketball Knicks as one of the great stories in sport. Madison Avenue already has the team's image well set. Ron Johnson, the great new running back, lean Clifton McNeil, the long ball threat, Tucker Frederickson, the man who came back, and cool Fran Tarkenton, the quarterback who proved that a scrambler can win the big one. So the pressure continues. The possibilities seem endless, and we are in the final week. Today in Yankee Stadium, we'll have some answers. Giant fans had something to cheer about early as New York took the opening kickoff and drove easily into Los Angeles territory. But a disquieting note sounded when on third down, Tucker Frederickson had no one between him and the goal, but was overthrown by Tarkenton. Pete Gogolak kicked a 42-yard field goal, and New York took a 3-0 lead. But a trend of offensive inopportunity had begun. The Rams shocked the Giants on their second series of the game when the usually conservative Gabriel went for the bomb on first down. 42 yards later, Jack Snow was run out of bounds on the Giant 23. On this key play, Gabriel pumped once before throwing. This made the Giant defenders hesitate slightly and allowed Snow to get behind tight double coverage for the catch. Four plays later, Gabriel couldn't locate a receiver, but seemed to have hours to look. Finally, after rolling right, he rocketed a pass to Pat Studstill for the score. Several plays prior to this, Jerry Shea, one of the Giants' best pass rushers, broke his leg. This was significant because one of the keys for New York was the amount of pressure their front four could apply to Gabriel. The touchdown play shows why this was so important. The man who would put L.A. ahead, Pat Studstill, is a 9-year veteran who has been used mostly as a punter by the Rams. But today he was starting in place of Wendell Tucker and making the most of it. He would catch 6 passes this afternoon. The next time L.A. had the ball, it was the start of the second period, and Gabriel again burned the Giants with the bomb. Pat Studstill was all alone at the right sideline to take the pass 40 yards for the Rams' second score. Before the game, Fran Tarkenton had said that strategy wouldn't win this game. What would was the ability to make the big play. Twice the Rams had made the big play, and they were fast taking command of the game. New York was forced to punt on their next series, and elusive Alvin Heyman gave the Rams good field position with his return. Then, for the first time today, Gabriel turned to his ground game. Their task was made easier because of the great success of the passing attack. And Larry Smith and Les Josephson cut through the Giants' defense like cheese. Josephson, number 34, has been hampered with numerous injuries the past 2 seasons, and this year has played with a broken jaw. Today's game was his best, as he ran for over 100 yards. At the Giants' 4-yard line, a third running back, Willie Ellison, put the finishing touch on this drive by circling the left flank untouched for the Rams' 3rd score. Los Angeles now led 21-3 and seemed to have the game well in hand. We'll be right back with more exciting action on the NFL Game of the Week. As Alex Webster unhappily looked on, things got worse fast for New York. Los Angeles was pressuring Tarkenton, and he threw hurriedly all day. This one resulted in an interception for middle linebacker Myron Padios and gave Los Angeles the ball at the Giant 22. Five plays later, David Ray put it through the uprights and put his team further out in front, 24-3. No more scoring occurred until midway through the 3rd quarter when Bobby Duhan fumbled a stud-still punt. Pat Curran recovered for the Rams on the New York 9. Two plays later, Josephson dove over for the final score of the day. Los Angeles 31, the disappointed New York Giants 3. The key to victory for the Rams was very definitely Roman Gabriel. The Giants knew they would have to mute Gabriel's horn to win. They didn't, and what resulted was one of Gabe's finest days. Even when he was off target, things turned out right for him. Gabriel was so good, at times he seemed over-anxious to test the Giants' defense. Gabriel passes behind perhaps the finest protection in football. Ken Hyman is an underrated center. Tom Mack and Joe Schiavelli are 2 of the best guards in football, and tackles Charlie Cowan and Bob Brown are massive and mobile. But though the Ram offense was the key to the game, Los Angeles defense was again superb. They held New York's high-powered attack without a touchdown for the first time this year. The famed fearsome foursome has 2 originals left. Merlin Olsen and Deacon Jones have been joined by Dyron Talbert and Coy Bacon, and there's been no letdown in their productivity, as Fran Tarkenton and his successor today, Dick Shiner, will attest. Both New York quarterbacks spent a rough afternoon. However, the Giants' good ground game suffered even more. New York was held to just 50 yards running. One of the big reasons was Merlin Olsen, who wasn't expected to play because of a painful knee injury. When the 270-pound Olsen unexpectedly took his place at the line of scrimmage, New York may have suffered a bit of a psychological deflation. But it was more than mental. Olsen was very physical all day. While Tarkenton was being chased by the strongest rush he's seen all season, the Rams secondary also made their presence felt. Number 17, safety Richie Pettibon, had a particularly fine day. About the only thing the Giants had to applaud today was Ron Johnson, who, despite being held to 43 yards, became the first Giant runner ever to hit the coveted 1,000-yard mark. But most of the time, the Giants could only watch helplessly and mutter to themselves about what might have been. Despite their decisive victory, the win did not help the Rams, except for bolstering their ego. For although they didn't know it when they left the field at the game's end, the San Francisco 49ers were to beat Oakland and consign the Rams to 2nd place in the West. The Detroit Lions' victory over Green Bay ended hopes of even a 2nd-place qualifying slot for Los Angeles. The 31-3 defeat was a sobering end to what had been an unbelievable year for the Giants and their fanatically devoted followers. Week after week, this unheralded team had scaled the unscalable peaks. But though no champagne flowed for New York, neither did tears. For in 1970, a year for winners in the NFL, the Giants were among the best. But on this bright December day, two fine football teams left the field as losers. And for both, there were no tomorrows left in 1970. In Dallas, 50,000 people braved a cold, misting rain to see their Cowboys meet the Houston Oilers. For Dallas, this game decided not only the championship of Texas, but their survival or death in the NFC East. By kickoff time, the Cowboys knew that the Rams were destroying New York 24-3 at halftime. So, fueled with this knowledge, they went out and took a giant step closer to the Super Bowl. For the past 3 weeks, the Cowboys' defense, led by All-Pro Bob Lilly, has not allowed a touchdown. Against the Oilers, their fury battered and buckled Houston runners, and their airborne assault took a fierce toll on quarterback Jerry Rome. On offense, Dallas demonstrated the versatility that is their trademark. Strong running and receiving by number 32, Walt Garrison, set up a first-quarter field goal that tied the game at 3. When Houston attempted to deceive Dallas with a flanker reverse pass by Jerry Levias, it was diagnosed and intercepted by rookie free safety Charlie Waters. It was the first of 4 Cowboy thefts, and each one of them resulted in Dallas scores. Rookie of the Year candidate Dwayne Thomas ranged free and easy through the Oilers in the first half and rushed for over 100 yards on the day. The first Cowboy touchdown was produced by seldom-used receiver Reggie Rucker, who took a simple slant in from Craig Morton and converted it into a 52-yard explosion. Another view shows that Rucker, number 88, operated from the center of the Cowboys' wishbone tee. Even with the defensive flow moving to the left with Rucker, Morton speared him cutting against the grain, and the willowy receiver glided expertly through the middle of the Oiler defense. For the long and limber Rucker, it was the first touchdown in his short career and gave Dallas fans an omen of things to come. For today, Dallas would dredge up the one-shot rainbow strike that has been missing for most of 1970 and bury Houston through the air. For number 17, Jerry Rome, this play ended a disappointing and disastrous day in Dallas. His rollout bomb intended for Levias was cut off brilliantly by Charlie Waters, whose return set up the second Cowboy touchdown. With Dallas fans demanding blood, quarterback Craig Morton, their sometimes hero, sometimes villain, laid open a gaping wound in the Oiler defense with a 38-yard scoring strike to Bob Hayes. Another angle illustrates the reason for the play's success. Operating behind flawless protection, Morton combined with Hayes on a deep crossing pattern that beat both Hayes' primary defender, Leroy Mitchell, number 41, and his deep help, safety Ken Houston, number 29. For Bob Hayes, his touchdown signature would be repeated 3 more times today. With Jerry Rome out with an injury, the offensive burden fell on rookie Bob Naponic, and the Cowboys fell on Bob Naponic. The doomsday defense roared out breathing flames and time and again blew down Naponic's protective pocket. Naponic, whose sole pro experience consisted of just one play, was overmatched against a 10-year All-Pro like Bob Lilly or a young quarterback crusher like Jethro Pugh. Naponic was nervy, young, and green. But today, Dallas Thunder colored him black and blue. While the Doomsday defense was intimidating the Houston attack, Craig Morton coolly led Dallas to a commanding halftime lead by mixing medium-range passes with the power blocks of guard John Nyland, number 76, and the power running of Dwayne Thomas. The tested formula of perfect blocking and Bob Hayes resulted in another 6 points for the Dallas Cowboys. A second look reveals that a deft play-action fake to Thomas froze the Houston defense long enough for Morton to sight his receiver. The rest was all Bob Hayes. When the loudspeaker announced a Ram victory, the Cowboys held a 24-3 halftime lead, and it was all downhill from there. We'll be right back with more exciting action on the NFL Game of the Week. Ahead by 3 touchdowns, 24-3, the Dallas Cowboys came out for the final 2 quarters in sight of what 4 weeks ago looked like an impossible dream. In the third quarter, the probably overconfident Cowboys made their first mistake of the game. Morton's pass for Hayes was intercepted by Leroy Mitchell, whose race for glory ended in a mismatch with the fastest man in pads. Naponic went right for the 6 points, but Dallas was determined to preserve its excellence. Once it was wide-ranging Charlie Waters who denied the Oilers. Finally, it was Jethro Pugh who deflected Naponic's pass into the waiting arms of linebacker Leroy Jordan, and through 15 straight quarters, Dallas still had not allowed a touchdown. Disdaining the run, Dallas jet streamed past Houston over ground. While Bob Hayes sifted through even double coverage, Walt Garrison slid into the unprotected areas in the Oilers' zone and ravaged it with some reckless running. The Cowboys gained a 4-touchdown advantage when Morton connected with Hayes for a 3rd time. Once again, Morton's protection was perfect. Once again, Hayes left Oiler defenders clutching only air as he evaporated into the end zone. Within a minute and a half of their last connection, Morton and Hayes did it again for the 4th time. This time, Hayes was alone at the sideline as he revved up and motored for a 59-yard touchdown run. The play is worth repeating because Morton's beautiful fake to number 35, Calvin Hill, occupied 2 Houston linebackers and allowed Hayes to finish his best day ever with 4 touchdowns and 179 yards on 6 receptions. Dallas 38, Houston 3. With the game nicely in hand, Morton was replaced by Roger Staubach and Dwayne Thomas by last year's Rookie of the Year, Calvin Hill. Hill, who is trying to battle his way back into a starting job, tried a little bit too hard today. and gave Houston its only touchdown when Johnny Peacock, number 44, scooped up his fumble and loped 41 yards for 6 points. In the fourth quarter, a fumbled punt by Jerry Levias, a Keystone Cop scramble for the ball, and a recovery by center Dave Manders, number 51, combined to set Dallas up at the Houston 2-yard line. It only took Dallas one play to score as Hill hurtled over the stacked Oiler defense, and the score ballooned to 45-10. The merciless Dallas defense, though, liberally sprinkled with rookies, choked off Naponic again when first-year linebacker Steve Kiner took a rebound off his chest and bulled his way 28 yards. Reserve running back Claxton Welch ended the massacre with a second effort bowled up the middle. The 52-10 rout of Houston was the Cowboys' 5th win in a row and sets up a showdown with the Detroit Lions in the Cotton Bowl on Sunday. Unlike previous years when they casually eased their way through the season, it has been a turbulent year for the troubled Texans. However, this may be a good sign, as their emotions may finally override their haunted playoff history and lead them to football's final appointment January 17th in Miami.